Good evening, everybody. It is Thursday night. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is the German versus the British GT3 series, and in the commentary box, I've got Ashley. You can see him in the background. He's going to be racing this evening, but getting some laps in. Ashley, how's that practice coming on for you?
I'm very stressed out at the moment because the Bentleys and the Porsches around here are super quick, and unfortunately the MGs are struggling a bit. But I'm going to do my utmost to finish this race and try not to make any mistakes, and hopefully that will give me some points this evening. That's all I can hope for.
So I see that we just hit the overtime there of the driver's briefing, which has now been completed. We are going to be going into qualifying, so that will be 10 minutes. Just looking at the comments coming through, Brandon DeSantos, you've got first dibs this evening, as well as Clayton Lee Litton-Hall. Good job. Good evening, all. Thank you. See, as soon as I read good, I expect that I'm doing something good. Good evening, all. Hello, my biggest Senki. Hello, Senki. How are you doing? And then Johan VDV back in the house saying, what's happening, peeps? A good evening, a good evening. Let's just get back to the live feed that we have. And as you can see, we've got, I was going to say 16 drivers, but we've just lost one. So there are 15 drivers currently in the lobby, and we're starting to see them going out. So Ash, just a message from Johan VDV. Ash, stop stressing, man. I hope that keeps you nice and calm for the upcoming qualifying.
Yeah, I think I need to go and grab myself the slow mags just to get rid of this anxiety, because I've been practicing for a couple of hours yesterday, and I was hoping to get a better result in this race, because the last couple of races have been pretty dismal. So yeah, let's see what happens. If I'm up with the quickest Merc, I'll be very happy.
Well, we have seen you saying that you haven't had much practice. You get in and then you do get a good couple of positions up there. So guys, while the drivers are currently doing their outlap to get their qualifying done, we can just bring up the current driver standings. So Jason for the Black Mambas, you can see him up at the top there, followed closely by Jakes, but just under 34 points is the difference there. Craig in third place for the Yugi's Fugleys. Did not expect that, but Craig definitely has had some good results coming up, and I believe that he had one last week. Unfortunately, no stream last week due to some technical issues behind the scenes. Ross, he was in third place and holding that position for quite a while, and he's now dropped down to fourth with Shark Racing, moving over to PC down in fifth. Stephen, he's in sixth place with Sly Pete, 2 points behind Stephen there, and Marius, we're looking to hopefully for him to have a good result here. We know that the Porsche is pretty quick. And then Marshall in a ninth place, therefore chasing Peavers, with Ronaldo in 10th, hoping to move himself up the order there as well. So just some new drivers, and we can see currently in a shot, that is a Nidmaster, new to the series, new to SARCO, and looking pretty decent in that very red looking McLaren. I must say, when I did first see it, I did think that it was a Ferrari. So Ronaldo is back, and just looking at our British international, that is Cutting Beef. We know Miss Duncan, he races with us on a Monday night, and he has decided to go in a Porsche this evening. We know that he had been supporting Marius through his tournament, the league. And then there's a 108, that is Ryan Abrams, down in let's say third place, but he hasn't put a lap time in. Right in the Bentley, I'm pretty sure that he'll be looking to move himself up. Then we've got James, also new to the Centre Corsa League. He's decided to go with the AMG 115, and there's Ross for the Green Mambas, partnering up with Jakes. It definitely looks like that is a screen, Amamba. Then Stephen, stable partners, teammates there behind in a double three. Morris in that number 7 Porsche, he'll be looking to get himself at the top of the standings, but crossing the start finish line, not being able to get a lap time in. And Jakes is currently was fastest, but now we've got Jason 1:45.83. We did see that the race pace is probably going to be in the mid 1:46s, so we will definitely keep our eye on that. The Cutty Beef goes and he puts a time in there, so he's dropping down the order now. Pete's 2.6 seconds off the pace there. There's Craig, currently is third in the championship. We'll watch him as he comes across the start-finish line. Remember guys, we are here at the Hungaroring. Very tight, very twisty. Craig does not get a lap in, so I'm pretty sure that he's going to be hopefully just taking it a little bit cautious now, get that lap time in and get himself on the start. But very close there between first and second place. That is Jason and Jake's. 0.129 of a second is the gap there. So it is definitely going to be a battle there. But where is Marius going to put himself when he crosses the start finish line? We can see him now coming up to turn number 13. Then he's going to want to get as far to the left of the track as possible now. Now tighten up, ride the curb on the inside there. You can see how close he got to the wall. Excellent up turn number 14. He goes and he crosses the line. And Amaris goes quickest by 0.003 of a second ahead of Jason in the Bentley. But as I say that, Jakes then goes quickest by 0.228 of a second. So the first three drivers separated by less than a quarter of a second. And there's Ross now crossing the line. He's in fourth place. Ash, I'm just going to turn off your mic coming through so I'll be able to hear you, but the fans at home won't, because I'm just hearing a whole bunch of clicking and clacking coming from your wheel. So Craig crosses the line and he now goes fifth fastest, just under a second is the gap there. Looking at Stephen as he hits the curb there at turn number 4. Now he'll take out the long right-hander out of turn number 5, and then into the chicane at turn 6 and 7. He'll now hit the left-hander at turn number 8. Then a right-hander turn at number 9. You've got to get your rhythm right here, because it's all about getting the exit down that through that turn 10 into 11, and now getting that straight line speed. Running a little bit wide. I'm pretty sure that might not be counted. Then just looking further down, 7th position, that is Connor. So he's joined this evening. Still looking at the comments coming through. So Toki van Venter, he's joined us. Say, let's do this, Stephen, and make it count. So Stephen now up into a 7th place. Slight Pete down in 8th. Connor now exits out of turn number 13 and he prepares to go into turn number 14. Let's see whether he will move himself up the order. So Connor moves up into 5th place, and I've just seen that a newcomer to the series, Nerdmaster, he's in a 6th place. So he's currently out-qualified Craig, who is in 7th place. Not to mention Marshall's qualifying is now done there for the Chasing Peavers, and he is a 0.003 of a second ahead of Stephen. So Stephen still has another opportunity to get that lap in. Pete in the Bentley, he's unfortunately had to drop out of the qualifying, only being able to go 10th fastest, and as I say his name, he appears on the screen. That's pretty crazy. So enjoy the race, guys, there from Peter Hardeman. I know that Ashley can still hear me as he goes out of turn number 1, heading towards turn number 2. He's going to want to get himself further up the order here. Currently, he is not the fastest of the Mercs. He's got 0.4 of a second to make up, to catch up to Marshall. Then Ronaldo in 12th place, 0.063 of a second behind Ashley. Then we've got James in the very powder blue AMG. He's in 13th place with Louis, who's decided that he wants to come and race some sets of course this evening in the very patriotic AMG. He's done in 14th place. Ryan, he's called it quits in terms of the qualifying. Got himself in the pits, and there's Duncan, new to Assetto Corsa, in 16th place, but did say that he didn't want to come and compete. He wanted to just come and have a race and just enjoy it with the guys here this evening. So 18 seconds left of the qualifying, and Jason, he now goes quickest, 1:45.33.08 of a second ahead of Marius. Connor is up into 3rd with Craig in 4th, and there's Jake's 0.3. So the first 5 positions separated by 0.3 of a second. Man, oh man, it's going to get extremely tight up at the top here. So Morris now coming out of turn number 13. He's going to have one more corner to go, and we'll see whether he is able to get himself up onto a pole position here at round number 7 of our German versus British touring car, and he has gone faster. So Morris puts himself on provisional pole as Jason comes and he crosses the line, and he doesn't go faster. So far that is Marius up at the top there. Connor now going into turn number 13. He runs himself wide, so that will be the end of his qualifying. And that is it. Marius goes quickest, 1:45.2. Jason 0.84 of a second off that time, and Connor 0.2. Then Craig 0.3, Jake's 0.3, Ross 0.7. Nidmaster 1.2 seconds off the pace there, and that is that. I'm so confused. Ashley, are you starting in the correct position by any chance? No, but why would it have done that? So maybe what we need to do is No, but there's drive-throughs all over the place. Hold on. I think what I'm going to do is we'll have a shot of it. And let's just get everybody to do a rolling start in the previous positions. No, I was always going to do that because this is not how it should be. So I don't know if you... I don't... So Ashley, I don't know if you're able to just communicate to some of the drivers. Yeah, so what we'll do is, we'll have to do a manual rolling start. So we'll do the short start, but then once we cross the start finish line, the guys must just get into their correct positions, and I will be able to get the actual positions up. What I'm doing is I'm just going to change the qualifying now. I'm just going to take the qualifying out. So apologies to everyone at home who is watching, but we don't know what happened there. You can see that was an absolute disaster just in terms of where the guys were starting. They were completely random on the grid. So we have just reset that server. Yep. Yep, 100%. So I'm just going back just to get the
green light, go, go, go.
Yeah, I'll put those positions up now.
I didn't hear that actually. I put on that thing. I couldn't hear a word you were saying. Connection was very bad.
No worries.
So what we do, must we do qualifying now?
Define that we're just going to start the race and then get into position on the first time. We're going to go onto the sport where the quick time results are there. So just take note of your qualifying position as a result of in also. And you must set the pace for us.
Okay, yeah. And then the same as we do with Project Card. When I get to the line, I just go. Okay, cool. All right. the connection is very bad. Well, from my side, I don't know from anyone else.
Okay, so the instructions have been placed on the Discord there, Ash. So we are all ready to go, guys. So we're just going to wait for the 2 minutes to go down. But while we wait for this session to run out, guys, we can just have a quick reminder about our sponsor for this evening, and that is Deliver Your Parcel. Deliver Your Parcel are a courier system that are able to give it to you both locally, nationally, and internationally. Just all the details are in the description below, so you are able to go and check them out. And just remember, guys, just quote SARCO and get your preferential rate. And what that will do is basically get the discounts that us as SARCO get in terms of getting those parcels delivered.
You have the start of the race with the short one, and as we start the race, everyone gets into position. And when I get over the start-finish line again, I'll just say go. Or there you go. Like we do in Project Car.
All right. Copy.
So doing a full extra lap after the start to get everybody into position.
Yeah, when the race starts, you take it easy. Go into position first, everyone gets into position, and when we go over the start and finish line again, the race will start. So you can get into position and heat up your tires or whatever.
Awesome, sounds good. Oh, we're just doing a single file start.
Yeah, the race will have a short start now. But when the race starts, don't go for it. Slowly get into position. Yeah, okay.
Yes, I understand that.
And then we keep it single file, like we're doing.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
Carnesian notice block.
Okay.
Okay, guys, so we are back to the start of the race. We are going to have a short formation lap. What will then happen is Amaris will then take the lead, and he will then guide everybody around in a manual formation lap. What that will then do is just allow the guys to get into the correct positions as they had done in qualifying, and then we will be racing. So we only will effectively be racing one lap down, but then at least everyone will be starting in the correct place.
Okay.
So I can't change the cameras just yet, but once we do go into past the start finish line and the race has begun, I will be able to change those cameras. And just remember, everybody, we have a 45-minute race coming up. There are 16 drivers currently on the grid with a mandatory pit stop, and that is what the orange one is on the a timing sheet that we're seeing there.
Green light. Go, go, go.
Everybody give me good position.
So we can start seeing the drivers starting to get into the correct positions. And just so everybody knows what those positions are, is that Morris is out in front with Jason in second, Connor's in third with Craig in fourth, Jakes is fifth, Ross is in a sixth place with Nidmaster in seventh, Marshall eighth, Stephen ninth, Pete in 10th, Ashley 11th, Ronaldo 12th, James in a 13th place, Louis 14th, Ryan 15th, and Duncan in a 16th position. Pete.
Everybody in position.
Not yet. You can hear Morris.
Which is supposed to be ahead of me.
Okay, I'm going slower
Yes.
now, heating up right now.
So now as all the drivers start approaching turn number 12, Morris is already going through turn number 14. And you can just see on the little map in the bottom right hand corner is that start finish line is very close to the beginning of the straight, so the guys will be very close together as they go flying down the main straight towards turn number 1.
On the stop line. Yeah.
Right, 3, 2, 1, go.
So we are racing here at the Hungaroring, and Morris is clean away into turn number 1. So is Jason. Jakes has now moved into the inside as well. So he's got himself ahead of Craig and Connor. So the two Yugi Fugleys now are starting to drop down the order slightly. We hear Craig, sorry, actually laughing in the background there. So obviously something definitely tickled his fancy there. If we just jump a little bit further back, there's Stephen taking a lot of curb there, but trying to close down on the back of James there, but still not able to get an overtake there. A nice little battle here between the two newcomers to the series, but a very close racing currently happening. We see that Marshall in that AMG, he's starting to move himself a little bit up the order. Currently the fastest of the AMGs, starting to get onto the back of Jakes. And I'd said that it was Jakes that moved himself up into third, but it was actually Ross. So Ross in third place now. He's got himself in a really good position as the drivers start nearing the end of lap number 1. And you can just see a long train of drivers going into turn number 12. But it is Morris who is out in front as he brakes now into turn number 14. Get the car rotated up on the curb. He stayed off the curb that time round and crosses the line to begin lap number 2, which is now effectively the first lap of the race. So Morris is clear away there. Let's just see if we can't jump on board. That's the shot I was looking for, and that is chasing. Warrior's being chased by Jason. You see slightly different lines between both drivers, but taking a lot of curb there into turn number 4. Just going to be patient here, turn number 5, let the car settle, get that power on, and start accelerating away. Into the chicanes, turn 6 and 7. Just see how that Porsche just settles itself so much nicer through there as Mario starts pulling away. That's because the Porsche changes direction so much better than the Bentley. But it is on the straight where the Bentley will start coming to its own. Mario's taking a bit of curve there, touching the dirt on the inside, but still no worries from him yet. Lots of curve on the inside into turn number 12. Now Jason will be trying to go as wide as possible, then cut on the inside here in turn number 13. You see Morris goes middle track, where Jason goes a little bit wider, gets a wider apex. Apex is near the end of the corner, and now crosses the line. No. I keep forgetting I've got to change the camera first before I can go out. These controls really are clumsy. So Craig is back up into a 4th place with Jake's in 5th, which means that there's been a mistake there by Ross, because Ross down in a 7th position. So there's this battle now between Craig, Jake's, Connor and Marshall. So Marshall doing very well in that AFG, moving himself up into 6th place now, where he was down in 8th place. So Marshall definitely making headroads here. And there's Nidmaster, newcomer. He's also not quite out of this battle just yet. 1.5 seconds is the gap between himself and Marshall. But just look at that gap between Jakes and Craig, Connor, then Marshall, and then Nidmaster. So 3 seconds separating these 4 drivers. Very close there. And lots of drivers taking a pit stop really early on. Just heard a little buzzing in the ear, and I see that we've got Duncan that's joined us. Duncan was racing. Duncan just having some challenges there. 100%. It does take a little bit more precision, doesn't it? No, 100%. That's very humble of you. Well done. So back to what I can do is a little move to the inside as Connor has a look on the inside of Jake's, and then decides not to go and have a look. But I'm just getting the screen up so Duncan is able to just see what we are doing here. Okay, Duncan, now you're able to see the race in real time. So it's just jumping on James, who does have Louis chasing him behind. It is a battle of the AMGs here. And I'm pretty sure as we see Louis going a little bit wide, Louis doing very well in the GT3 Sprint Series. Got himself some podiums in the last couple of races, so really enjoying his time there. But it is now the battle between Bentley and Bentley. Connor going a little bit wide as he exited out of turn number 11. You do get to carry quite a bit of speed there, and it is the number 13 Bentley starting to put pressure on Craig ahead of him in number 83. So Jakes now decides that he's going to go into the pits. which now releases Connor to go and chase his teammate. So Craig and Connor now up into 3rd and 4th place, which is now promoted Marshall up into 5th. Jake's still in the pits, so Midmaster should be able to get himself ahead of him, as well as Sly Pete. He's started well. Where's he? Currently in 8th place, but just bear in mind that we've got Ross, Ryan, Ashley, Ronaldo and Steven who have pitted. And we just know what happens once the pit stops have happened later on in the race. Everybody starts getting very, very close together. But now we're on lap number 5 of the race, and Mario is starting to open up a gap between himself and the 2nd place Jason. 1.5 seconds has now come down to 1 second. So is this now where Jason has got himself settled and now starting to see if he can't get an attack? So that gap now staying just at the 1 second mark. And Connor decides to go into the pits. I wonder whether he felt like he was being slowed up by his teammate. And that is Craig, who's in 3rd place. But where is Jakes? So, because it all depends on where Jakes is, and then will he get himself ahead of Connor? Because Jake's now coming into turn number 13. He'll have turn number 14. Connor hasn't moved just yet. There we can see Jake's now coming out of the last corner. Connor's now starting to move down the pit lane. And here comes Jakes. It's going to be very, very close, because Jakes is up at speed already, now into the braking zone. And Connor does seem like he was able to get away. So Connor really has made that pit stop work for him. And Jakes now finds himself behind the youngster. So Marshall getting a lot of competition from Nidmaster in this McLaren as they go through turn number 9 in this fast sweeping left-hander at turn number 10. Just on the brakes, down to 3rd gear, get the car turned in, back on the accelerator. Then down the hill, will he have a look to the inside? Not close enough to do so just yet. So he will be needing to find an opportunity, but he might be able to get a run on the AMG. We just know how quick this AMG is in a straight line. So you'll really have to time this pass really carefully. Let's see if we can get an onboard view. How quick the AMG is down the start finish line. He's going to have a look to the inside. Not close enough for an overtake, and Marshall is able to hit that braking marker, as does Midmaster. So Marshall gets to fight just a couple of corners more. But now we've got Craig, the 3rd place driver. He is now exiting out of the pits. Remember, he had his teammate Connor, who has gone past, and it seems Jakes has gone past too. So that means somehow Craig has lost some positions where Craig was actually ahead of Connor. I wonder whether he got stuck in the pits. And now Craig has got Ross right behind him. So this race is now just heated up with still 30 minutes left to go, and these pits are now out of the way. But Connor has had an absolutely blinder, because he's still 2.8 seconds ahead of Jakes. Then Craig 4.7 seconds. Definitely something has gone on there. Don't know whether there was some damage that he would have needed to fix. And then Ross now starting to close up on the Yugi's funkiest. And what that does is that now this promotes Marshall now deciding now's the time to go into the pits. And now we'll have a Nidmaster. He's going to cross the line, currently in second position. And I'm pretty sure he'll be really, really happy with this current performance. First time racing here with us at SARCO. And Pete now is up into fourth. We know that it is Peter's style to have a late pit stop. But now Jason, who was in a second place, he's now going into the pits. And Connor is now coming past him, so it looks like Jason might have had an off there, because Jason is definitely dropping down the order, so a quick little stop and go. So Connor's gone past, Jakes has gone past, Craig has gone past, Ross has passed. Ashley, he won't have gotten past him. But if we jump to Jason now, there's Jason now out of the pit, so definitely something has happened there, because Jason's found himself way down the order, and that's behind drivers who have already pitted. Some side-by-side action as Ryan and Ashley get very close together. Jason now sneaks up on the inside of Ryan, but Ryan now tries the cut back, not close enough to do so. But there's Stephen just ahead of Ashley. And I just wanted to jump a little bit closer, because Ross hasn't let Craig get away from him. Just under 1.5 seconds is the gap there. But the Bentleys are starting to pull away from Marshall, who's currently in 10th place. Just bearing in mind that we still have Marius, Nidmaster, Pete, James and Louis, those 5 drivers still needing to pit. So Craig managing to pull an extra 0.2 of a second on Ross that time round. But we're just going to jump back. I saw that Jason was behind Ashley, but he has been able to get ahead of him. So I'm actually very interested to see where Nidmaster's going to come out after these pit stops. That the pits have happened so quickly that I can't even give you what an estimate time is. But I definitely do not think it's anywhere near about 25 seconds. So, because that gap is currently 19 seconds between Nidmaster and Marius, and if my calculations are correct, Nidmaster should land up at about 25 seconds between Marshall and Steven. So we'll just keep our eye on that. But currently the man out in front who put himself on the pole position and has stayed there from start to finish. We are approaching the halfway mark. Just 2 minutes to go till we hit halfway. And I wonder whether there will be some team orders here with Jason starting to close up on his black number teammate. So Louis and James still having an almighty little battle here. Is when we saw this earlier on, James was just keeping Louis at bay, but they definitely are going to be feeling the pressure from each other. James is going to be watching that rear view mirror, and Louis is going to be trying to push as hard as he can. Just knowing that they do have Connor behind, who is currently effectively ahead of them, knowing that he has pitted. So Jason now starting to close up onto the back of Stephen. That's a gap now just over 1.1 seconds, but I do want to jump back there because it looked like Louis got a really good run out coming out of turn number 14. As they go into turn number 2, a very tricky corner because it is constantly falling away from you. You can just see the angle of that corner as they go through turn number 3. Oof, when Connor goes a little bit wide through turn number 3, and then taking a lot of curve on the inside is all 3 of the drivers. And Louis now getting very close up into turn number 5 they go. So this is AFG, and then Bentley fighting it out, and I wonder where the Louis is going to allow Connor to go through. So Connor has a look to the inside, and Louis sees him coming, and it just jumps out of the way. So great awareness there from Louis. But now Louis should use this opportunity to get that slipstream from Connor and hopefully get himself to close up on the back of James. But it does look like Louis decided to rather take the pits exactly on that halfway mark. So now we'll see where Louis starts dropping down the order. So next on Connor's list is going to be James. And coming in the background there, oof, that was very close there. That is Jake's now starting to close up on the back of these two drivers. It does look like Connor got a good drive coming out of that corner, now into turn number 6, chicane at 7. I wonder whether that was a little naughty move there from Connor, a little push him out of the way there. So now Jake's trying to get himself, there we go. James just moving out of the way, allowing Jake's to go through. And now Jake's got his eyes set on Connor ahead of him. In the background there, we see Craig starting to catch up onto the back of this battle here as well now. So lap number 13, and Morris is still out in front with a Nidmaster in a second place. Pete, he's in third place with Connor starting to close up. That's 14 seconds, and just judging by my previous calculations of that 25 seconds, that should put Pete just about behind Marshall. So we'll have to check that out. So James in the pits, and he hasn't moved Ronaldo, he too is in the pits, and I see that he is 3 laps down. But James staying in the pits for quite a while, so there might be some things that he is doing, but that does look like tires are moving, so he is now on his way. So Marshall's gone past, Jason's gone past, Stephen, he's gone past, Ashley, he's now just gone out of turn number 2. There's Ryan, and here comes Louis, so he's going to be a pretty close. So there's James now coming out of turn number 1, and Louis now going through there as well, but having to just allow our race leader to go through. So he's going to have to put his head down, and hopefully it's just start closing up on the back of James once again. So 1.3 seconds now is the gap between Jakes and Connor. And Jason down in 9th place. He's starting to move up the order now. But remember that he was up in 2nd place. And after the pits, we did see him start dropping down the order. Waiting to see when the drivers cross the next sector time. So 1.6 seconds. So Jakes has lost 0.3 of a second on Connor ahead of him in that sector. But there's still time, 17.5 minutes left to go of this race. So Pete 12 seconds behind the 2nd place Netmaster. So that's 9, that's 10 seconds, that's 17, 21. So it all depends on what the distance between Ross is. So that's 27 seconds. So currently Peter's 27 seconds on himself and Marshall. So we'll have to see where he pops up once the pit stops have been concluded. So that 0.6 of a seconds that Jakes has been able to make up has definitely closed him up onto the back of Connor a little bit more. And Jason now within half a second of Marshall. So Jason has a little show to the inside. Marshall goes defensive. You see Jason still takes the Foster outside line. But will he be able to set him up for the kick at turn number 4? It's a very tricky place to overtake, but if you are able to get yourself side by side, the Hungaroring is such a tricky track to overtake. So Jason now tries to cut back, having a little show to the inside into turn number 6, now turn number 7. But that AMG in a straight line is pretty quick. Now they head down towards turn number 12, and this is where the Bentley is able to possibly make an overtake. Jason's going to have to stay very close to the back of that AMG. Will he be able to sneak up on the inside here into turn number 14? He's not close enough. But if you can get that power down, you can see much tighter line there for Jason, as he is now going side by side, himself and Marshall, and across the line. But Jason's going to have the inside line into turn number 1. So Jason now moves himself up into 8th place. A great overtake there for the man in black. And it seems that Connor and Jakes are having a nice little tussle here as well, because that gap was 1 second and is now back to 1.6 seconds. I'm just wondering whether Jakes is quicker in some sector and Connor's is quicker in some of the others. They are approaching the sector times now, so 1.7 is the gap now, so Jakes losing yet another 1/10 of a second. So 13 minutes left, plus some change, of course. And the first 3 drivers still needing to pit. So guys, we are gonna just set him up, but just allow him to get in a less of a compromising spot before we ask him the question as he exits out of turn number 14. Ashley, how's your race going so far? Are you feeling comfortable yet?
No. To put it bluntly,
Short
it
and
is
sweet. Your braking
very
mark is
difficult
coming out.
race.
Brake.
No, it's been a tough race so far. The pace of these guys is just unbelievable. I'm doing as much as I can to keep up with them, but it's proving to be a little bit impossible. So I'm just gonna get the car home. I think that's the best option I have right now.
100%, we'll leave you to it. So Jason's now caught up into the back, fighting his way back through the field here. Sorry, this is now turn number 10. That was turn number 8. And we saw Jason setting up Marshall in the last corner. So you can see Jason just having a little show to the inside of turn 12. So we see Pete starting to fall down the order. That's because he's now gone into the pits and he's going to lose another 2 positions here. See Jason trying to get the tighter line, but Ross said he almost followed that line that he had made. So Pete is now moving, but there goes Ross. Jason now to the outside. Ross going defensive. Marshall coming out. Here comes Steven. And there is Pete now leaving the pit lane now. So Pete did expect him to be behind Marshall and in front of Steven, so that did get wrong. So Jason up into the 6th position, which is effectively 5th place, and 13 seconds for him to go and catch Craig, who's in 5th currently. But it does look like Jake's starting to just battle a little bit, trying to catch up to Connor, because 2.6 seconds is the gap there. Race leader in the Porsche approaching a turn number 4. Just love the sound of that, I almost said Ferrari. Just love the sound of that Porsche. Let's get that car rotated, accelerate out there. Touch of the brakes, down 2 gears, up onto the inside curb, then onto the outside. Just let it roll here through turn number 8 onto the curb, then down a gear, back onto the power, then get yourself set up for turn 10. Little lift sometimes, some of the guys off the flat there. Then down a 1 gear through turn number 11. And turn 12 is a lot tighter than you think it is. So it does look like Stephen is starting to close up on the back of Marshall. So Marshall currently in 8th place and Stephen in that Bentley. 1.1 seconds is the gap. But they are going to cut the timing, so 1.2 is now the gap. So Stephen is right up there, but Marshall has been able to just find another 1/10 of a second on him. Marshall just clips the dirt on the outside, and just in front there, that is Ross. So we are basically looking for the battle for 7th, 8th and 9th place. So Marshall now getting very, very close to the back of Ross. Will he ever look to the inside? They got very late on the brakes there. So this is for positions. This is 7th, 8th and 9th place. And looking at the timesheet, and Jace has found himself another half a second. Is Marshall going to try go around the outside? Does have the straight line speed here in the AMG. He's going to take a little slipstream, but now he's pulling Stephen behind him. But that Bentley is also really, really quick in a straight line. Can Marshall try go around the outside? Now Stephen's going to have a look to the inside. Marshall left the door open, and Stephen took that with arms wide open. Creed reference. And all of a sudden Marshall was looking to get a place on Ross and lands up losing their place to Stephen. So Marshall's going to have to just regroup here. 6 minutes 40 seconds to go. And Stephen now moving himself on the inside. A little touch there between Stephen and Ross. And that's now put Marshall right in the mix of things once again. He does allow Stephen to go through, because 3 cars do definitely not get through there all in the same time. So extremely close racing here, and Stephen is all over the back of his stablemate's rear as Ross goes defensive. Marshall has another look to the inside into turn 12. So can Marshall get himself onto the back of these 2 Bentleys ahead of him and possibly grab a slipstream? It looked like Stephen went a little bit wide into the entry there. Now they'll go into the braking zone in turn 1. So Ross goes defensive. Stephen decides to take the outside line, and he has been able to make that work. Stephen moves to the inside and gets himself ahead of Ross, but Stephen now outbrakes himself and allows Ross to go past. Not only Ross, but there goes Marshall. So the places between these 3 are changing all the times now. Race leader Marius now goes into the pits, and Connor, who's currently heading down the hill towards turn number 12. Morris is already on his way out. And Nidmaster, he now goes into the pits. So there's Connor now going through turn number 13. Morris is now stopped. His pit stop is complete. So Morris is now moving. He just hits the pit sign as he exits out. And Connor's going to see Morris just going into the first corner. So Nidmaster is now heading down the pits. He will still need to stop as well, but I want to get back to this battle. This is Marshall and Stephen side by side, and Ross goes a little bit wide. Stephen gets caught up behind him, and Stephen now moving to the inside. Ross leading this little battle. Ross goes wide. Marshall nice and tight on the inside. They were just about 3 wide as they head across the start-finish line. So that is Stephen on the inside, Ross in the middle, Marshall on the outside. Into the braking zone, little touch there by the 2 Bentleys. And Nidmaster, he's popped up right behind these 3. And I wonder whether he'll be able to get himself in the mix here as a little tip of the rear. Marshall just touches Ross. Ross managing to catch it. And Stephen, he's actually in 7th place and starting to work his way clear from the tussle now. So all drivers have now pitted, and Connor in 2nd place is 9.5 seconds behind the race leader, followed by Jakes in 3rd, Craig in 4th place. Then we've got Jason, who's in a little bit of no man's land here currently. He's got a drive-through penalty. I wonder whether that is too many limits being exceeded, because that's going to put him in risk of being put right in the middle of this battle. Let's see whether he goes and takes that time, that drive-through now. No, he doesn't. So just jumping back now to the crazy action, because I thought that Stephen would be able to get away, but he hasn't been able to clear Ross. Ross 0.6 of a second behind, and Marshall less than half a second behind him. So they begin their 23rd lap. 17 seconds is the gap between Stephen and Jason. Ross very defensive once again into turn 1, and Marshall definitely has that car hooked up into turn 1. You can see how much time and space he closed up onto the back of Ross there going into turn 1. So Craig closing up onto the back of Jakes. That was over 2 seconds. It's now dropped down to 1.5 seconds. So that time is definitely coming down. You can see 1.1 seconds now. Where is Morris on the track? So Morris is going to cross the start-finish line, and this will be the final lap. So Craig has got one more lap to try and close down this gap between himself and Jakes. And you can see the tighter line that Craig was taking right up on the inside of that curve. And that has got him to within half a second of Jakes. So Jason is going to have to take that drive-through penalty right now. Oh, there, apologies. There's Jason now. He is taking the drive-through. So Stephen now starting to come around the last corner. It's going to be extremely close because Jason still has half the straight to go. There goes Stephen. There goes Ross. And I jump to Morris and Marshall now into the braking zone. And there's Jason now dropping down the order. So Jason just ahead of Nidmaster, which puts Jason down into 8th place. Oh, little slap on the rear there for Marshall. Looks like Marshall was struggling to get going there again. Oh, I see he was actually waiting for Ross to rejoin, which has allowed Jason to go past as well as Nidmaster, as well as Ashley. But then Ross goes very, very wide there, going into turn number 4. And Ross now loses some more positions, and that is Marius crossing the line in first place. Connor's going to come home in second, and Jake's hanging on to that third place. An absolutely fantastic drive there from Jake's, managing to keep Craig out who crosses the line.
Oh, somebody's running out of fuel. The master. That master has run out of fuel. Shame, man. Unlucky, man.
So, Nerdmaster, new to the series, we can hear Ashley talking in the background there, running out of fuel and having to retire to the pits. So, Ashley moves himself up into 7th place.
Let's let him finish the race.
Marshall in 8th place with Pete in 9th. Ross is going to come home in 10th place.
Hold that, Marius.
Ryan in 11th. He's getting himself some free positions here. Louis in 13th. Then James in 14th place, and Ronaldo all the way down in number 15, and unfortunately retiring 14 laps ago.
Well done, Connor.
That was awesome. Thank you, guys.
So guys, we're just getting our podium winners up into
Top 3 into the
Discord.
The lobby, please.
Give me a minute.
Can you guys hear me?
100%.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sounds like you got a cold.
I've just had a nose operation actually, so
A nose job.
Nose job.
yeah, it's not quite a nose, but I've just had a nose operation, so I've got 2 pipes up my nose, so I can't actually breathe through my nose anyway.
Got
You went to the Michael Jackson look.
No, actually, I think my nose was fractured in 3 places. I think so. It's for a good reason.
Was that
Why
before
can't I
or
see
after
you
the
guys?
operation?
Well, depends on who you ask. No, it was before the operation. It must have happened before I was 3. So
His father punched him because he tried
yeah, my mom
to break
dropped
his
me,
ribs.
dropped me on the face. No.
Let's hope your mom and dad are not listening to this, because you're going to get a head slap just now.
Yeah, I have my nose broken again.
Yeah, guys, we're just waiting for Marius to join us.
I think Boris is still busy with donuts, actually.
So there we go.
Hello, guys.
So good evening,
Well,
guys. What a great race. Very, very interesting indeed, I must say. Let's go to you, Connor. No, it was Jake's in third place. Sorry, Connor. Jake's, let's go to you.
Yeah, it's all good.
A early pit stop. I must say, the guys pitted way earlier than normally expected. I saw Ross go out, and then yourself and Ross had a little bit of a go at each other. And then you ended up having Craig, after the pit stops, chasing you down, and just managed to hang on there because I think 1 or 2 more laps and he might have got that place from you, Jakes.
Yes, absolutely. My tyres were shot there at the end, Dylan. What a difficult race it was for me. Wow, it was tough, man. Connor, I couldn't catch up with him. He was just too fast for me. And Craig, if there was another lap, he would have passed me. So I just made it. I was very lucky in the beginning. Made that early pit stop and got ahead of Craig, quite a distance ahead of Craig. Ross and Craig was ahead of me when I went to the pits. So I made up 2 places with that pit stop of mine, with Craig and Ross behind me. And then from there was just flat out all the way. But I catched up a little bit to Connor, and he saw that, and he just extended the gap there. So, but I'm happy with it. I'll take the 3rd place anyway, or any day. What happened to Jason there?
So when he went into the pit and he came out, I'm not sure whether he had a longer pit stop, but he lost maybe 3 or 4 places in the pit stop, and then he was down in 9th place and started moving his way up through the field. And then he had a drive-through penalty, so had to go in again and lost more places. So definitely not Jason's evening.
Wow, maybe it was track limits there.
Could possibly be.
But well done to Connor and Marius. Lekker, buddy. Well done.
Let's go to you, Connor. Interesting race there. Yourself and Craig had quite a bit of pace early on, and then decided that also early pit stop there for you. And then just managed to just start opening that gap between yourself and Jakes. Can I say an easy race for you in the end?
No, not easy. But it was easier towards the end. But at the beginning, the reason those early pit stops was we had to cover Jake's off, actually. Craig and I, we were in a party chat together, so we were doing team strats, you know. So we as Jake's pitted, we did a cracker of an in lap, and I managed to jump him in the pit stops. But I had 2 warnings already, so the rest of the race was just keeping it out off of track limits because I didn't want to drive through in the end. But yeah, a difficult race in the end. Tire wear was shocking for the Bentley, so I'm happy with 2nd there. Wish I could have been with Morris, but I wasn't. So next race, I'll be better.
100%. And then Morris, finally the Porsche gets up onto the top spot. I'm pretty sure you're quite happy with that.
Yay!
Even I'll support the Porsche there.
If there's one track that I thought I could maybe compete properly, it was this one, you know. But my front, they all mentioned their tires in the end. My front tires was finished, totally finished in the end as well. It was quite tricky, and I had 3rd warning for track penalties in 2 places on the track. So I also came off big time in the end, not to hit those because I wanted to win, obviously, but it was cool. I told Jakes yesterday, I wish we had a good battle today. Not a battle, but I enjoyed it, obviously. I won. The Porsche's up for one race.
Take it and run, Marius. Take it and run.
But well done, Jakes. Well done, Connor. I actually thought Jason. I thought Jason was. He was pressuring me in the beginning, and I think he ducked into the pit because he might have felt that I held him up there a bit. But I knew that my pace in the first bit with the Porsche
Is always bad.
The Porsche only starts operating nicely after about 5 or 6 laps.
100%.
Then it gets well. So I knew if I can just keep him behind me, eventually I'll be able to, relieve myself. But I don't know what happened to him. I just saw in the end he had a 30-second penalty, which is unfortunate. But well done to everybody. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely awesome.
I bet you do.
Well, some stupid German engineer decided to stick the engine in the back. They deserve to not switch tires on.
So thank you very much to Marius, Jakes, and Hollywood. Really awesome having you up in the podium. Ashley, any
I see
final
you
words
pick
from
it up
you?
by nickname there, I see.
Yeah. Okay, Connor. Guys, if you want to get involved, you want to take on the likes of Hollywood and Marius and Jakes, come and sign up on our website. It's www.sarcoracing.co.za. We already had 2 new members come and join us, and they did exceptionally well this evening. So thank you to them, and congratulations. And also, you can check us live on Facebook and YouTube.
100%, guys, and don't forget that this season is proudly brought to you by Deliver Your Parcel. Only 1 more week left, so we find out who's the top 3 that go into the lucky draw for that race in July, the 26th of July. We are taking 3 drivers that are going to join us at the F400 karting challenge, and can't wait for that. I honestly cannot wait for it. So, guys, until then,
It's a treat.
keep racing, and thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you very
everybody.
much.
Bye.
Cheers,
Cheers,
bye.
guys.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Yes, bye.